Shade.
Call the June 20 meeting of the school committee to order. First item we always have is on our agenda is public input. Is there anybody that wants to speak on anything other than what's on the agenda? Being none, we'll move on to our second item, which is a student report. And we have Gabrielle Lanzaro, class of 2017, to provide a report.
Some notable academic matters is that final exams began last Thursday, June 16th, and will continue until tomorrow, June 21st. The last day of school will be Wednesday, June 22nd. The class of 2016 graduated last Friday, June 17th. The student speakers at graduation were Leah Diamandidis, Jillian Camo, Ashton Parker McDermott, and Madeline Veneziano. We wish them all the best in their future endeavors. Some notable athletic matters is that the baseball team won the Division III North Championship against Linfield on Saturday, June 11th, 5-1. They then moved on to beat the South for the Eastern Mass title. They beat East Bridgewater 6-0 on Wednesday, June 15th. Unfortunately, they lost in the state finals on Saturday, June 18th against Groton Dunstable 5-4. They have a lot to be proud of, and they had an incredible run. Both the girls' track team and the boys' track team were represented at nationals this past weekend in Greensboro, North Carolina. They competed in many events, which included javelin, the girls' 800 medley, triple jump, shuttle hurdles, and the boys' 800 sprint medley relay. School records and personal bests were made. Some other matters is that North Reading High School was awarded for the second year in a row the Highland Award, which is presented to schools for athletic and academic achievements. Dan Madden, the president of North Reading Student Council and president of the Massachusetts Association of Student Councils, leaves this Wednesday for Oregon for the national conference. Student Council also has 6 delegates attending the Massachusetts Association of Student Councils annual summer conference in July. As this year comes to a close, I think we can all agree that it was a fantastic year for sports teams, academic achievements, and extracurricular activities. The middle school transition from the old high school into the new building has been very smooth. We have adjusted well into this new school, and students are taking full advantage of the new spaces. Students are very thankful of the community for providing this school. From personal experience, the classrooms have been so accommodating. A lot of my teachers have been utilizing the new technology to enhance our learning. I have also had many great presentations in this distance learning lab. We could not be more thankful for this new building.
Good. Anybody have any questions?
I just want to say that last few paragraphs is music to our ears. That's exactly what we hope to hear, and we actually had a presentation at, I think, 2 meetings ago where Mr. Connolly and Mr. Bernard showed us how much all of the facilities are being used here by both the school, students, faculty, and also the community, which is why we built this facility. So very happy about that. I wanted to comment on the Highland Award. It's a great achievement because it does, a large factor in us winning it is performance on the field and winning percentage, but it also takes into account, as she mentioned, academics, but also sportsmanship and participation levels. We have a very high participation level here at the high school in our athletic programs, and to win this 2 years in a row, I think, is a significant accomplishment.
Yeah, I think I think we've had an unprecedented year, really, in athletics. I've never seen anything like this before. I've been in town for 30 years. We won 9 Cape Ann League championships. We went to the North sectional finals, I think, in I don't know how many sports, about half a dozen sports. Our girls track team won the Cape Ann League championship, the Division IV state championship, and then placed, I think, 5th in New England's. Boys track team, well, they won the state relays along with the girls. I mean, it's been unbelievable, right from soccer in the fall and football and right through the winter season with the basketball teams and right into the spring with softball and baseball and track. It's been unbelievable. And not only did we win the Highland Award, and that's not something they're giving out to every other school either. My understanding is we won it for the Cape Ann League.
I think they give one to each division.
One each
Yeah,
division.
so we went for the large schools.
Yeah, and then I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Mel, but there's a Dalton Award that recognizes the best team in Division III. I think there are 39 schools in Division III, and I believe we just barely missed being number one.
finished second, right.
We finished second behind Marblehead, so. And then, of course, we've had a great year with, as you said, Gabby, with performing arts and extracurricular activities and student council and all that stuff, so. It's been a very, very rewarding year. And then to have you tell us that, how much you guys appreciate the school, that's even better. That's frosting on the cake. So,
Mr. Chair, just a few other things, if I could. I'm not going to name them all off, but as Jerry mentioned, we won 9 Cal champions. We won 2 North Sectional champions. Gabby mentioned the baseball team. The girls soccer also won the North Sectional. Jerry mentioned the other championships we won at the state level. We had, in the Cape Ann League, we had 8 Cape Ann League Coaches of the Years, 6 Cape Ann League Player of Years, and we also won 2 Sportsmanship Awards. And one of the things I found interesting was, usually they give the Sportsmanship Award to a team that doesn't
Not
play
doing
so
well.
well.
Yeah.
Our baseball team won the Sportsmanship Award, and they were the best team. They almost won the state championship, which says a lot about that team and the character of that team. Usually, people look at the teams that win and they say, we're not going to give them sportsmanship because they won everything. We don't have to give them sportsmanship. So, and then we had a couple of coaches also win Coach of the Year awards in their divisions, the Boston Globe.
one of them sitting here tonight, actually.
Yeah. And I also wanted to mention, this was in the paper today, Julia Valenti was one of 14 students in the state who were awarded the Globe Scholar Athlete Award by the Globe. It was announced today.
Julia was the one that, I think, the New England's in the pole vault. I mean, she swept just about every competition that she was in the pole vault. But, yeah, I want to congratulate Dave Johnson, our athletic director, and I want to congratulate all of our coaches, assistant coaches, and all the athletes for having a tremendous, tremendous year.
And we can't forget the arts. So the North Reading Middle School Hornet Productions Group, they were nominated for 8 awards at the state musical awards for their Bugsy Malone Jr. show, and they won 3 awards. They won for best props, management, and execution. Bella McCaffrey won for featured actress, and they also won for the best dance ensemble. So again, that's a program where 4 or 5 years ago was pretty non-existent. There was a theater program in the middle school, but compared to where we are now, and I credit, Carla Lister, the people that work with her, Allison Kane, for putting that all
And a
together.
few months ago, Mel, refreshed my memory on the play that made it to the state finals, the short play.
Oh, yeah, with
Glory Story?
Glory Stories, right.
That the high school
Right,
made it to the state
finals.
finals.
Right.
So,
So it has been a tremendous year, and not all athletics, but also academics. And I loved reading that Julia Valenti story because Julia's going to Dartmouth.
Going to
So
Dartmouth College.
It's pretty exciting to see that.
Mr. Chairman?
Which all goes to prove, build it and they will come.
yeah. I think a lot of the credit does go to the school committee.
Well, I was going to say all of it, but if you want to take a lot of it.
But no, it's been a great year for us.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, tonight is Gabby's last meeting.
Oh.
She will not be with us next year as a student rep, but I think I would speak for the committee when I say we appreciate, Gabby, your time coming to the meetings, and I will miss you at our bi-weekly meetings as we prepare for school committee meetings. She's done a very nice job as a student
Any
rep.
more Lanzaros
I
coming
was going to
up?
say, that's the end of the Lanzaro dynasty. Wait a minute. We would get at least one more year. We had 3. We at least one more, but
All right.
So thank you, Gabby.
At some point, you have to run out.
yeah.
All good things must end.
Thanks. Have a good summer.
Too.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Okay, next on our agenda is continued business, the MSBA SSBC update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So a few things. I wanted to alert you to the fact that you might remember that there was an effort going on to try to get some new art tables for both the middle and high school art spaces. I'm happy to tell you that the tables arrived last week. We're very happy with them. They are beautiful. Miss O'Brien actually, we decided to outfit her room, the middle school art room, with the new tables while she was on the grade 8 Washington, D.C. trip. So she came back today to the new tables. And
Was she happy?
very happy. They're beautiful. They really are. Very high quality. They're going to serve us well. We decided to wait on the replacement of the high school tables until the summer so that they'll be fresh for September. The training of the AV systems, I'm just trying to keep you up to date on on those trainings with Austro Electric. We did have a pretty sizable group here on last Wednesday with the trainings that began in this room in the Distance Learning Lab. There was, I would venture to guess, 12 to 14 people at that training. So from both the central office, both the middle school and the high school, and I think we're on our way. I think it was a good, I feel very good that Greg Salhoffen from Austro put together a nice written presentation for us, a handbook of the uses of a lot of the technology in this room, including the lights. So we found that.
Did we turn those lights on?
We can, yeah.
Oh, we can, but we didn't.
Oh, yes, we did.
We did.
on
What are
that
they?
day.
Are they color? Or are they?
They're bright, I can tell you that. They're very bright, and they will certainly do the trick for any kind of a long-distance interaction. But they light up this area here very, very nicely.
The last thing we need is
So-
more light.
Yeah.
Yeah, not right now. But I thought it was important to update you that we are moving in a direction of getting, then I think the next space we are interested in learning more about is the Performing Arts Center, because that's a pretty high-tech space as well. So I'll continue to keep you updated on that. The date for that training has not been set yet. At the time that I wrote this report, I had indicated to you that I was expecting that hydro seeding, that the replacement of trees and shrubs that had died since they were planted last fall, and the weeding of garden beds to take place. That was going to take place starting the week of somewhere between June 17th and June 24th. You might notice that the hydro seeding did begin today. I'm hopeful. I sent an email to Gilbane Company late this afternoon, just reminding them of the need to have a crew here to address the weeds, the mulch beds and such. So I'm hopeful that I will get a response to that, and that I'm asking for I'm looking for a pretty sizable crew to be here to address the work that needs to be done. And then the last thing I would tell you tonight is that we do have a meeting scheduled for June 27th. That's going to be led by Dora and Whittier to begin looking at the punch list, the so-called warranty walkthrough. That's scheduled for June 27th, and again, that's going to be under the direction of Dora and Whittier.
Mr. Chair? I was going to go on a rant, but Mr. Bernard dissuaded me not to rant, so I will just make a few comments and ask a few questions related to the landscaping. And I'm not sure all of these issues are related to the contractors for the project. I think some of them are going to be related to us maintaining the area, or at least either now or in the near future. Hydro seeding in 90-degree weather makes absolutely no sense.
Just before the 1st of July, with a water ban?
Exactly. Mr. Bernard mentioned the dead shrubs. I mean, there's dead shrubs everywhere, and I'm not a landscaper, but every time I drive by here, I say they seem to have crammed way too many bushes into way too many small areas. And one of the problems might be we need to remove some shrubs. There are 0 wildflowers. The only color is purple loosestrife, which is a prevalent weed in this area, and a few other weeds. I don't understand why there are no wildflowers. This is going to be something we're going to have to deal with without an irrigation system, but I noticed the grass around the place is browning, but there's just nothing we can do about that unless it rains. The one thing, though, I want to make sure we stay on top of Gilbane on is at the last SSBC meeting, the Gilbane executive there promised they would not stop maintaining the hydro-seeded area until it germinated. We need to hold them to that. We need to make sure that's watered every day. I'm assuming it looks like the slope is pretty much done. They're probably going to hydro-seed the rest tomorrow, I hope. But we need to make sure that they maintain that until it germinates as they promised.
That was said.
Yeah.
That was said by Joanna Cribb.
And I guess overall, with all the weeds, et cetera, I don't know what, I had heard there might be something in the contract that they were only responsible for one weeding. But you just ride around here, and if you really look, maybe other people don't, but you see just the weeds are just everywhere. And we just need to.
Yeah, and to that point, I hope, I think it's I want people to know that it's not the school department's obligation.
Right.
At this time, we're still kind of reliant on the contractor.
Right.
So it's not our people that
It
aren't.
soon will be.
Right.
It soon will be, but we have a plan to approach that, and I think it's a good one.
Right.
But for right now, the community has paid for them to maintain the site, the contractor that is, and we need to hold them to that. So once that has ended, then our people will assume the responsibility, and I'm confident we can keep it up, and we will. But I think it's important for the community to know right now that it's not
Correct.
It's our obligation to make sure that the contractor does it,
Correct.
but it's not our obligation to do the actual work.
My recollection is that the contract requires that the contractor will maintain all of the the grounds for the first year after it's accepted.
Right, and we haven't,
It hasn't been accepted.
we haven't accepted anything, right.
We've got a year ahead of us before it's
Correct.
ours.
Well, if they were growing weeds, they'd have a beautiful crop.
Yeah.
Just for the record, too, so people know, there's $75,000 yet to be paid on their contract, so they're not getting
For
paid-
landscaping, just for yeah.
landscaping alone. So they're not getting paid until, obviously, they've satisfied us. So that's $75,000 that has not been paid on the contract. There's an additional $18,000, which is 5% of their remaining obligation to, that's being held in retainage. So we have about $83,000 that's owed to them, and until such time as they satisfy us that the work is done, they're just not going to get paid.
And Mr. Chair, if there's one other thing I could mention related to the project, the project to sod and irrigate the practice field and the softball field is moving along. Mr. Conley, I believe the bids are scheduled to be in on the 23rd, is that correct?
Thursday.
The bids will be open on the 23rd, this Thursday. The money is starting to come in. I know we received a couple of checks,
We
and
did.
I've also been contacted by a few other groups that made the commitment asking, who to make the check out to and where the check should go. We have our fingers crossed that the bids come in within the money that we have. If they don't, we'll find more money. We'll raise more money somehow to get that project done. But that's moving along, and it has a end completion date of 8/17, I believe, at the long end. So maybe we'll get it done before that, but that's the date we have right now.
And that includes irrigation of the
Right.
sod for the softball field and the all-purpose field.
Correct. Thanks.
I guess that's
Awesome.
done with that. The next item on our agenda is the presentation of some school committee awards of appreciation. Mr. Colleen has a little something to say on this.
Hey, Sean.
Good evening.
Thanks for having us. Am I right into this?
That's live,
That's live. I like it.
I think.
Well, thank you. One of our goals this year at the Bachelor School, and it should be one of our goals every year, is to be able to take time and stop and say thank you. We are very fortunate to be in a community that is very involved in all aspects of our education. And when this opportunity comes up every year, I try to catch myself to find a few special people to recognize. And this year I did submit a couple of nominations for the School Committee Award of Appreciation. The first nomination was for Mr. John Freiberg, a parent of North Reading High School graduates, Jay and Allie, super fan of North Reading High School athletics, which you referenced early. His genuine appreciation of interscholastic athletics, combined with his passion of photography, has resulted in an amazing representation of our student athletes in their finest moments. The hours that you've invested to capture, share, and publish these events are worthy of recognition, and probably a lot more. The student athletes love the stories that pictures tell, and they'll cherish those memories forever. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and every photo John has taken and shared with families, players, media, and that are showcased in the hall every time that you walk in and out of North Reading High School will serve as a memory for our student athletes, coaches, and faculty and staff forever. To take it one step further, I've known Mr. Freiberg now for probably close to 20 years. I had his son in class as a teacher at the Hood School. And coming back to high school soccer last year, I noticed he was on the field and he was taking pictures, and I'd seen some of the pictures on Main Street. But on top of that, he takes everything from every season and he compiles them into CDs for players. The amount of time I wish I had some of those memories from when I played high school athletics. And it's just a small token of the appreciation that I'm glad the school committee has decided to recognize you here tonight. So thank you.
I'm sure they're going to want to take a picture of it.
Awfully nice guy. Really is. He treats horrific kids. One of his kids, his wife taught me. Chris Freiberg.
He's a middle school math teacher. An awfully nice guy.
John? Good job, Dan.
Nice.
Thank you.
One thing you didn't mention is also that John doesn't live in town anymore, and he is still so committed to getting those pictures. I still see him at most of the games I'm at, so I know he's here a lot. And it's not just outdoor sports, it's indoor also. So it's just awesome.
All year.
Yes.
It's all, yeah, I don't know how to use a camera, and all the pictures I got of my daughter playing sports are from John. I'm serious. Yeah, she was, yeah, but everything I have is from John, so.
Yeah, it's not far.
Another thank you that I needed to take time and stop to, focus the attention is I have Mrs. Mary Haddon. She's a parent of 2 girls in our district. She's been involved in supporting science education at the LD Bachelor School consistently for over 6 years. And Mary, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be on this, but I figured it was about 2009. I couldn't remember if it was when Sarah was done with first grade, right? She didn't even get to partake in the first event, if I'm correct. But Mary conceptualized and delivered one of my favorite events every year. It's called a First Grade Family Science Night. And it was after Sarah, so Sarah was in 2nd grade, and she worked with our first grade team to develop activities and lessons where families came with their first grader and explored them together with college students. She teaches at Endicott College, so she'd bring young adults who are studying to be teachers to come in and help create these. And to watch it evolve since then has been incredible. Every year we take time and reflect upon the event, and she's made changes to provide additional opportunities for more people to share their love of science at many grade levels. Our most recent first grade family science night involved students from Endicott College. She also involved students from the North Reading High School Science Club. She ran an after-school class for my 4th and 5th graders that they then worked with the first graders as part of that night. And then she also reached out to the community and had iRobot come in and run a couple of demos for our students. It is by far one of my favorite nights at the school because the parents work directly with the student, guided under leadership. Compared to open house is another fantastic night, but parents usually find parents at open house and kids are showing each other their work, which is a great evening. First grade science night requires the adult to work with the child, and it's absolutely one of my favorite nights. Since the implementation of First Grade Family Science Night, Mrs. Haddon has created other opportunities to impact science education at the LD Bachelor School. She runs our Kindergarten Tulip Project, so if you ever are by the front of the school or up near the courtyard every spring, you'll see, well, they do it all year long in the fall, the kindergartners are out making observations, and then once the tulips break ground, they're measuring and they're watching them go throughout a year. The students observe, predict, and measure the growth of the tulip at different locations, and she works with different teachers to support and enhance lessons. Mrs. Haddon has worked with some teachers who are interested, and myself, in addressing the shift in the science standards to make sure that we're taking the right steps forward in curriculum development. And she's consistently been available for any grade level as a resource and always goes the extra mile to support our teachers and promote the importance and love of science and education. So I'm very pleased, Mary, to take a second and thank you on a more formal stage than the small thank yous I give you every year. So thank you, Mary Haddon.
John.
I don't have to have John down
Yeah,
again?
yeah, you have to have John down again, too. Get all 4 of them together, come on. Yeah, want to get John back down there? Come on, John. John, you're very photogenic.
He's more comfortable behind the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
up in the world?
Great guy. Dan?
I think he's with the bench.
School council.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you both very much for all your contributions to the community. It's much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
What I want to know is where you guys find the time. Oh, my gosh.
Just retired.
That's wonderful, though. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Clean is very supportive, and the teachers at the Batchelder School
There we
are
go.
so open and welcoming, and
Are you thinking of
really been encouraged.
venturing out to the other two elementaries?
Trying to balance things, but I would love to move in that direction. Thrilled to make a connection with the North Reading High School Science Club this year. They're excited to do things in the community, so our plan is to roll out with them, my plan is to put together a science night that they could then take to each of the elementary schools, kind of a science fun night, so.
Great.
Keep you posted.
Great
Very
idea.
good.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
If you see my wife, thank her for letting me.
I should have given her the award.
Yeah.
I will tell
Hey,
her.
John.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is the presentation of the elementary school improvement plans. And
That's all right. I said I left mine home. I think
I will
no, because
move.
they're going to do a presentation.
Ready? Thank you for allowing us to come and update you on the progress that we've made over the 2015-2016 school year, and also share some of our goals as we start to plan for 2016 and 2017. Together, every year, the three elementary principals sit down and we make sure that we share the same priorities, talk about what some of the issues that we're facing, and come together with this plan. So I do think that you will see the individual flair of each school as we go through our individual school presentation, but also a theme of consistency. One of the first ones, whenever we start with the budget, revolves around class size. We do recognize the work that the leadership team, supported by the school committee, to make sure that we have the best school size, class size for students to impact teaching and learning. And just the North Reading Public Schools recognize and values the importance of class size. And just a reminder of the target class size of kindergarten to grade 2 and grade 3 through 5.
So collectively, all four schools have 4 goals that we work towards, which are in alignment with NRPS 2021. And those 4 goals are teaching and learning, to reduce the proficiency gap in math and ELA in half by the year 2017. Management and operations, to provide a safe learning environment for all stakeholders. Family and community engagement, to improve the school, family, and school community partnerships through increased communication and engagement, and in professional culture, to strengthen the professional learning community with a focus on shared responsibility to improve student learning. We have a quote that we often include, so I'm going to read it quickly. Teaching and learning. A positive learning climate in a school for young children is a composite of many things. It is an attitude that respects children. It is a place where children receive guidance and encouragement from the responsible adults around them. It is an environment where children can experiment and try out new ideas without fear or failure. It is an atmosphere that builds children's self-confidence so they dare to take risks. It is an environment that nurtures a love of learning.
So as we go through our school improvement plans tonight, I want you to know that we've worked really diligently over the past 3 or 4 years to get together, to make the plans very similar, yet have that unique flair of each building, along with aligning them to the state and district expectations, more specifically NRPS 2021, the administrator evaluation standards, as well as the educator evaluation standards. It's taking all 3 of those, putting it together, and coming out with the school improvement plan. So I have the pleasure of going first. So this is just an overview of the Hood School Improvement Plan. As you hear me always say that the Hood School, the theme is hand in hand, together we can. We believe that working together collaboratively with parents, associations, school councils, school committee, all stakeholder groups, that we can help our children achieve success. I'd like to take this as an opportunity to thank my school council membership. This year I had Mrs. Reynolds, who's a kindergarten teacher, and Mr. Erler as our faculty representatives. I had Mrs. Wilson, who is a former Hood School parent and resident in the nearby community, as my community representative. I also had Mrs. Reck and Mrs. Menace as my parent representative, so I want to thank them for the countless hours that they put in and going through each part of the school improvement plan and all the other things that we shared with them throughout the meetings. So just some highlights for us for this year at the Hood School. As we continue to refine our co-teaching model, and we believe that there's a direct correlation between the success of our high-needs subgroup and that co-teaching model with our state accountability report. We scored a 99 on a 100 scale for the high-needs subgroup. We implemented the new FOSS science materials in kindergarten through grade 2. We significantly increased the use of technology as an instructional tool, and that's due to the digital learning specialists. We completed a math pilot across grade levels. We completed a makerspace book study and created a makerspace implementation plan. And we participated in the Hood School auction, and those funds were specifically designated to help us build our makerspace. So in the area of teaching and learning, we continue to focus on the implementation of best practices to meet the needs of all of our learners. We really spend a lot of time talking about data, reviewing data, collecting data, and looking at that real individual student level to make data-driven decisions with the goal of improving student learning outcomes. And we continue to implement our co-teaching model and recognizing that we're not fully there yet and that we have areas of growth opportunities. And we've really recognized that push-in services as opposed to pull-out services are really the best interest of all kids. In management and operations, we want to provide training and fully implement the ALICE protocols. We revisited, and we will revisit again, the security protocols, including our electronic sign-in. We have our school-wide SRR behavioral focus, so safe, responsible, respectful. It's our expectation that all of our students are able to share that and they understand that. School-wide behavior is one of the reasons why our building can focus all the time. It's a cross-setting, so it's in classrooms, it's in the hallways, it's during presentations. It's great. Our recognition piece to that is our High Five Wall of Fame. I believe you saw that when you came and visited. That's when students get recognized or caught being good and have that opportunity to be recognized for safe, responsible, respectful behavior and get to put their hand up on the wall. And this year we are going through a paving project, so we'll be looking forward to that, to have a safe environment for everyone that comes to the Hood School. Family and community engagement. I know I don't have as many followers as everybody else in this room on Twitter, Mr. Colleen specifically, but it's one of our goals to continue to actively reach out and have communication with our families and engage them in any way possible. I'm looking forward to the new website for that as well. This year we did a really interesting survey of parents and asking them about parent-teacher signups, and then we got to observe how many hours it took everybody to schedule all these parent conferences. And this year we went electronic with it. We used the middle school model, and I received nothing but positive feedback, how easy it was, how convenient it was. So we're going to continue with that. Our student council this year raised roughly $1,200 for various charities. That's a wonderful thing. And we're going to continue to promote our Read Across America. We haven't changed it much, but it's been very successful, and we haven't felt the need to change it. And everybody just seems to enjoy that one day where we get together, and we focus on that love of reading. And we will work hand in hand together with our Parents Association on the development of our makerspace, and that has already started. Professional culture. So we have study groups or learning communities that we focus on at the Hood School. We'll be doing that again next year. This year we had co-teaching, school climate, and technology integration. And as a opportunity to improve school climate and culture, we also have our in-school Happy Hound Dog happenings and our Morale Pals, or those opportunities for us to get together as a faculty and share special moments. So we will continue with that as well. So new initiatives, as you've heard me say a few times, that we are building a makerspace. We are taking our computer lab and we're converting it in part of it into this area where they can go and the students and staff can go and, I like the word that they use, tinker and play around and build things and learn. So we've done some site visits. Specifically, we went to the Bancroft School last week, and I think I'm going to struggle a little bit because I've been told those spaces are messy spaces, but I like the nice orderly space, but we'll see. We will update and enhance our enrichment programs. We had a nice survey sent out to families, so I think we can fine-tune our practices and increase our course offerings to families. And we will continue to research our co-teaching model. I think that this is at the point where we need to start. We've done enough internal work on that we need to reach out to stakeholder groups and specifically solicit feedback from students and parents on that. So we will be formally collecting that information. This is Molly.
Thank you, Mr. McKay. So it's hard to believe we're here again. This year went by so incredibly quickly. So at the EE Little School, we seek to create a challenging educational environment with high expectations for each student's success. Our school promotes a safe, nurturing, and supportive atmosphere in which to learn and play. Each student's self-esteem and love of learning is fostered by positive relationships with his or her peers and teachers. We will respect ourselves and one another and appreciate individual differences. Our belief is that education is a shared responsibility of the students, parents, teachers, and community. Together we can work to develop responsible children who are prepared to face the complexities of today's ever-changing world. I'd like to publicly thank the school council, who meets monthly, Michael Aki, Linda, who's parent representative, Linda Emery, who's a parent representative, Kerry Fleck, who is a teacher representative, Catherine Foley, who's a parent representative, Philip Lynch, who's a teacher representative, and myself. Some of the highlights from this school year. We increased the use of co-teaching strategies to provide increased focus to our high-needs subgroup. We're hoping to someday achieve what the Hood School has achieved. We've developed a block schedule to support daily opportunities for collaboration of regular education and special education staff. We implemented the use of new science materials in preschool through grade 2. We increased significantly the use of technology as an instructional tool due to the additional hardware and the fabulous digital learning specialists that we now have in our buildings. We encouraged and supported professional development in literacy. Some of the workshops included close reading and universal design for learning. At least one teacher at every grade level, except for kindergarten, is SEI endorsed at the little school. And the work continues to promote fundraising for the PTO is fundraising for the playground.
Getting close, though.
We're getting very close. In the area of teaching and learning, our focus areas continue to be a focus on the improvement of the high needs subgroup. We're continuing to look at the block scheduling. It wasn't really all that easy to schedule because we do not have full-time specialists in our building, so it gets a little complicated when you're trying to do block scheduling when you only have an art teacher for 3 days and so on and so forth. So we're continuing to look at it, and we'd like to implement it where possible. This will improve special education schedules for push-in and pull-out services and daily check-ins with the regular ed and special education teachers. We will be increasing our literacy coaching at all grade levels. The reading specialists working not only with the children, but directly with the teachers. Continued math interventions, including Title I, professional development in math and close reading and universal design for learning, We're going to fully implement the new math program and the updated science curriculum. NOADM is being updated to match the science standards, so we'll be getting all updated kits from NOADM. And we will continue to support teachers to become SEI endorsed. In the area of management and operations, we will be investigating a rubric-based and child-friendly discipline system. This is a result of a book that we initially read at the Pause Group, and we did a book study back at the little school, and we're going to revisit that this year. We're going to increase the health and wellness initiative, also a result of the Pause Committee, and provide training and fully implement the ALICE protocols. Continue our top dog student recognition for good leadership and citizenship, etc. Coordinate the logistics of the school start in September and the roof project, so the logistics might be a little complicated with parking and whatnot. And continue to collaborate with the PTO and the playground vendor to ensure the installation of an ADA-compliant playground. In the area of family and community engagement, we'd like to encourage an increased parent participation in the PTO, and continue with our school council guest speaker series this year. Every month we had a different surprise guest who came to the school council, and it was really interesting and informative. Encourage new Twitter followers, encourage teachers to maintain classroom websites, and support ongoing curriculum nights for parents, such as the math workshops that Mr. Daly had throughout the school year. We've got really positive feedback from parents about those evenings. And in the area of professional culture, we look to encourage team building activities inside and outside of school. Last Tuesday night, 23 staff members went to the Red Sox game together. Continue our book group studies, schools where everyone belongs. We're going to do a book study on universal design for learning, and we're going to be investigating the makerspace movement. Every Friday, we, as a fundraiser monthly, teachers pay $5 to be able to wear jeans on Friday, and every month there's a new organization that benefits from those donations from the staff members. And it's usually an organization or some kind of a fund that has a real close connection to somebody on the staff. We're going to improve collaboration time with more of a focus on data and sharing of student work for calibration, and continue our top dog celebrations monthly, our all-school enrichments during their time, and we're going to revisit the Manners initiative that we implemented a couple of years ago, where every month we had a different theme, table manners, how to look somebody in the eye when you're speaking to them, those kind of things. New initiatives for this year. Obviously, you know that we'll be piloting the hybrid kindergarten model. We're very excited about that. We will be incorporating additional health and wellness activities into the physical education block. Hopefully, we will complete the roof project as close to the timeline as possible. Finalize the plans for the new playground, which we have a new target date of the spring of 2017 instead of the fall of 2017. We will train the staff and implement ALICE protocols, investigate and begin to plan for the rubric-based discipline system, and explore makerspace opportunities, including focus on STEAM versus STEM, and the A in there means that there will be an art component as well as the science, technology, engineering, and math with an art component. And that is it for the little school. I hand it over to Mr. Colleen.
ELD Bachelor School, I'd like to thank our school council membership. Myself, Sandy O'Connell is our faculty rep, with Tina Borick, who serves as the faculty rep and co-chair. We are joined tonight by Mr. Eric Evans, our parent representative secretary. Our other parent representative is Sarah Harrington, and our community representative is Mary Ann Lape. The school council did a fantastic job this year with a few different initiatives, which is pretty exciting stuff. some of the highlights from this past school year was the revision of our positive behavior program. We used to have our Caught Being Good and our Bulldog Pride for our K-2 and 3-5. Faculty and staff, after reviewing the progress that we've made in that, decided to revise the program, and we came up with Spotlight, which focuses on character traits that we look to see in our students at school, both in the classroom and outside of the classroom. The character traits that we focus on, and they already exist, a rubric of K-1, 2-3, and 4-5, so you have samples of what that may look like at the different grade levels, are respect, effort, citizenship, perseverance, and leadership. So we recognize those twice a school year, and every month we bring our students together for a short, sustained silent reading, a school share of news and events, and then we recognize our students who were nominated for demonstrating that character trait over the course of that month. We also successfully implemented the digital learning model with the help of the digital learning specialists, Dr. Daly and Dr. Downs. We've been working on utilizing student learning data to just drive instructional practice and measure student learning, trying to find the data points that in the school that our teachers and administration share as being valuable to check and balance with some of the other common assessments or state assessments that we're using. So we have multiple data points across the year, and also can measure progress monitor. One of the highlights for the school council was we took a look at our DART schools. The state will, when you go to assessment accountability, they prepare schools that are built similar to yours. And the school council, each school council member was assigned a school, did a full research, whether it was using online from the school websites, the state website, contacting people at the school to get an idea of enrollment, staffing, taking a look at how they're servicing high needs, what their RTI model was, and different things that we might be able to share to see if we can improve our practice at the Batchelder School. We also had a huge focus on math curriculum this year, where the teachers conducted the pilots at multiple grade levels to support the district's effort to identify a high-quality program. And we as well implemented the new science kits in grades K-2 at the Batchelder School. As far as teaching and learning, we continue to focus on our high-need subgroup and instructional practice to impact student learning. It's been really interesting last year, and I think we'll have the same problem this year and next year, taking the different data from the state and making the most sense of it to drive instructional practice at the school. That's why using some of these other data points has been so important. We'll be looking at using iReady again for math, and then maybe bringing in the ELA to help us progress monitor for students, for all students, but with an emphasis on that high needs subgroup. For Spotlight Year 2, we're going to continue to revise our rubric, add more teaching. Oh yeah, that I left off. We're doing scenarios where we write up a situation, students and teachers identify which character trait it represents. So just like we do with math or writing, we're calibrating the lens, so we're making sure that we see things the same way and students see things the same way, so when we're having this conversations, it's consistent. And then we're gonna continue to work similar. It's difficult to do the block scheduling, more so I find for just the way you have to offer planning as part of the contract, and get one every day to be able to manipulate that with the staffing levels that you have. This past year, we also had visited 2 schools. We went over to the Summer Street School and the Dollin School in Arlington. Summer Street's in Linfield, and we visited the Dollin Street School in Arlington. We've already identified schools where we're gonna reach out over the summer to see if we can do. We wanted to get to at least 3 more schools as part of this 2-year study, and we're looking at the schools that really have outperformed us consistently across the state data. Continue to work with faculty and staff around the ALICE protocols. We're trying to retool the budget both at the school and working with the district level to sustain and enhance our digital learning. That's one of the more technology we've brought in, as things need to be repaired, replaced, or now people are finding greater tools that they can be using. Some of them have cost. They're very resourceful at looking for things that are free, but the budget for digital learning is going to start to be documented, created, and projected. And then finally, we have, we're trying to replace some of the windows in the original building. Right now, we still have a bunch of windows that still won't function, but we're trying to get those fixed. And then it's also time to look at the Peabody Street entrance. The concrete stairwell needs to be repaired. For family community engagement, we want to work with our families and our students to review homework expectations and options to engage student learning at home. We want to continue to review and share our curriculum maps using the school website as a vehicle. We're researching different ways to use parent volunteers to come in and support teaching and learning beyond just their child's classroom. I find we have a lot of parents that are willing to help out in the schools and trying to identify useful ways that they can donate time that might not be in their child's classroom, but supporting teaching and learning. We'll work to maintain the school's new website and the use of technology to share and promote school news. Utilize school council, parents, organizations to engage parents in discussions about school and district goals. Under professional culture, we are, over the summer, doing some work to look at our schedule, to look at our literacy blocks, try to create more time for special educators to work directly with general ed classroom teachers. And then we're also looking at some elective offerings as well. With data, we're spending a lot of time with data. We've decided to take some time to look at and come with vertical alignment of data points that we're going to use so we know when students need different supports or enrichment possibilities. We're also going to share the responsibility by creating student learning and professional practice goals that are vertical, and that we can, if we know something is an area of weakness in third grade that showed up as a data trend, we can start to work on that in second grade. So it's not just the responsibility of the third grade team. And then continue to offer in-house professional development opportunities. We'll continue to work on Spotlight for next year. It had such a great feel because it was a teacher grassroots driven. They've done surveys to update information. They're looking to add more online resources, how to use Open Circle to make it more practical in the classroom. The positive feel of bringing the school together every month for an assembly has challenged us to think about maybe doing something at grade level once a month, where it almost becomes a community meeting by grade level. And then we want to look to identify our student leadership and how to use them in some of the larger areas where there are fewer adults: bus, arrival, dismissal, hallway. We'll look to effectively implement the Eureka Math program, K-5. We have PD set for that. We'll continue to plan school and district meetings to map the scope and sequence and share the work of making sure it's a complete program, and then really start to focus on the learning data that we're getting back from students. Our data team study from the work of identifying the data will involve a data calendar, including professional time to analyze and share conclusions with colleagues, students, and families. That's it. I do want to, before I leave, I just want to recognize, we talked about the arts earlier, and I want to recognize my music teacher, Miss Larson, and our instrumental teacher, Miss Dye, for their successful, and my 4th and 5th grade students for their successful program. They ran their first drama musical, We Are Monsters, on Friday night here at the high school, and Saturday at 4 o'clock. It was an amazing performance and one that I was very proud and so happy to see them pull off. The kids put in so much work. I had to leave before talking to parents because I was teary as like a proud parent almost, and I don't own any of those kids, but it was just a moment.
Well, I took my daughter on Friday night, and I'm an emotional person anyway as a teacher and a parent, and I didn't have any kids up there on stage, but it was a phenomenal program, and I want to, give her props. It was great.
Shot just when the lights go on and the sound works.
I know you do, Jerry. When it works.
Thank you.
John, do you want to put the mic over there so we can ask some questions, though?
Any questions on comments?
I'll turn it over to you.
Any questions, Bill?
I have one simple question for Sean. I saw the windows in the Peabody Street entrance. How many windows are we talking about? And in terms of the Peabody Street entrance, are you looking at a kind of a major renovation there? Do you think it's something that, we can get through with a little spit and a little little paper?
If I'm correct, I think it was about 22 to 24 windows. We did about 50% back in FY
13, I think.
13.
Right? Yeah.
And it made a huge difference. These past 2 weeks where the temperature has gotten a little bit warmer, airflow is kind of important. So that fixes a little bit short of money for those windows, but I think it was around that number. As far as that front walkway, I think we've been trying to manage it with the spit and the
Okay.
elbow grease.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's probably something that we need to bring somebody in and see what they recommend structurally, whether there is a better medium-term solution or if it's time to do something more drastic.
Which walkway is that, Sean?
The old main entrance of the school.
Oh, the old main entrance.
Those stairs up in there, it's the old main entrance of the school. It still gets quite a bit because we receive all our walker and car pickup traffic. We still use Peabody Street, so it's still a pretty active.
Those windows are the ones that we preserved when we did the renovation, right?
And we actually replaced some of them. So you went back to the windows, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we did fix some of them, but there's the function.
Yeah.
A lot of them needed to be repaired, and we found a pretty good vendor in FY13 to do a couple of fixes that made it. It wouldn't be a lot of money, but money is always an item.
Yeah. And I have a bunch of others, but I'll just ask one more and let others ask. Glenn, you mentioned the electronic sign-in that you have. What exactly is that, and is it something that we should be doing at all our schools?
I spent so much time on that, so I appreciate the question. Basically, I struggled with all these books where people sign in, and when they sign in, they have to get a little badge because when they walk through the building, people are supposed to stop them if they don't have the badge. I will say that there's been some blips with the technology piece, but we finally have it on its own network in the office. It's an iPad that I've mounted to a cart, and basically it electronically collects information about a person coming into the building, their name, their picture, their signature. A few things I do really like about it, and then it instantaneously prints out a badge for them. Now that I've got the printer figured out, it's been some learn there. Behind the scenes, though, what I really like is I can receive an email of a PDF of who's in the building at all times, and then if there was an emergency, you can quickly print out a report of who signed in the building.
That's the part I like about, that's what I was wondering if you had that, because I think I don't know if, have you patented this technology yet, and are you selling the product now, or because
We've talked about it, yeah. We use an app, but I mean, the whole setup is pretty interesting, and I think I can get it a little better.
It's great. When we had the Readers Cafe on Friday, there was about a half an hour line of people waiting. So perhaps
we went old
situation like that,
and we adjusted. We went old school. We started collecting names, and I mean, with people we knew.
But normally, for normal situations,
it's great, and it actually prints a picture of the person on the badge.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's something we ought to have Dr. Downs maybe take a look at. Maybe it's something we could implement at our other schools.
Yeah. I like having a list of who's in the building too. I think
that's really
it's just
good.
nice to know, and I don't know why. It's just nice to know who's in.
I think that's excellent. It's a great idea.
Any other questions or comments?
You have some, right?
I have some questions. Where are we with Alice implementation? I know we had training, but have we done anything at the schools yet with teachers or students, or what is the timeline for that?
Yeah, I can answer that. So we were a little bit, our original timeline was thwarted a little bit because we had a snow day in February on the day when we were supposed to initiate the staff training, so that did not happen until April. The only school where there's been training with staff was at the middle high school. We had that already in April. We made the decision that we would not do any student trainings and elementary trainings until the fall.
Okay.
But there has been a question and answer session at each elementary school and the middle school and the high school following the initial training. The
Okay.
training at the middle high school went very well. It was in May, I'm sorry, I said April, it was May. But it did not involve the students, and we made the decision not to do it at this time because the 8th graders are going to become high school students. The seniors were going to be leaving. It just didn't make sense to do that. Had we not been thwarted with snow in February, we would have held to our original timeline. But the goal right now is to have had trainings at all of the schools by, I think it's somewhere around October 27th, give or take a few days. But that's the plan right now. Originally, we had hoped to have that all buttoned up this spring, but it's gone into the fall.
So
now.
student,
At the middle school, high school,
presentation.
it would involve students in the trainings, not at the elementary schools.
So are we doing that at some point, or?
No, it's going to be teacher facilitated.
Okay, great.
Any other?
Got more, right?
I think all three of you touched upon the block scheduling and working really hard, and I work in an elementary school. I know it's so difficult to do when you have support staff. As far as specialist schedules go and the availability of having specialists to kind of help in that process, is there consistency among the elementary schools of art time? Because I did see some differences in FTEs, and I just was wondering if, students at each school are getting the same amount per specialist, and, I'm sure prep time is pretty consistent. But is that a struggle to try to balance those things every year?
They all get the same amount of time in their specials, so they all get 45 minutes for art, except I think the kindergarten gets 30 minutes. So it's consistent across all three elementary schools.
Okay.
The difficulty with the block scheduling and the specialist is you have to have all of your grade level classes going to a special at the same time. If you don't have full-time specialists, you can't do that. It's not possible to do. So, we get as close as we can, but it's not perfect yet.
My reason for that was to see if more specialists could help you accommodate those block schedules in your building.
You mean more FTE of specialists? Well, yes, but that's kind of a budget-driven.
Absolutely, but that was,
I'm sure the
that's
answer to
why
the
I'm
question is
asking.
yes.
Yes.
But I also.
We'd like as much staff as we can.
But just on that issue, though, do we have the population at each of those schools to justify full-time FTEs of specialists at each school? That's the question. I don't know if we do.
I think presently.
I honestly don't think we're that far off right now. I think that's just some tweaks and a little bit of movement around.
Because the block scheduling, I had the same, I would love to see if we could implement, especially with the, the ELA. I think that'd be great to get some
Well, especially with,
consistency.
this co-teaching movement that we're
Yeah.
kind of spreading throughout the district. You need to have the support staff to make that happen effectively.
Well, I think that's where we would be looking for our growth opportunities, would be in the additional support staff.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I ask a
Special
few
ed
more?
and other interventions.
I have a few more. And this maybe is more for John. Are the new school websites, they're not up yet, are they?
They are not.
Is it planned for the fall for those?
Plan is for the fall, yeah. We had a working group session about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, all of the administrators, where we, I think, made quite a bit of progress on what content we wanted loaded on the sites, and the goal is now to have them up for the fall.
Can I have two quick comments, and one's for Chris. It makes me smile to see Carrie Fleck's name up there because my daughter was in the first grade when Carrie started, and she's just a wonderful person. And then the other thing is, it seems like an overwhelmingly positive response to the digital learning specialist system we have in place now. And I'm glad to hear that, glad that's working out.
They're wonderful.
It's amazing.
They
really are.
really are wonderful.
Yeah.
That's it.
I have a comment for you. I'm amazed at how similar what you do, all the things you do that are similar, that are called different things.
True.
You're very clever at making each school individual.
Making each school unique.
I believe Mr. Clean used the word individual flair.
One of these things is not like the other, right?
I didn't, however, brag about the fact that the little school has won the turkey trot for 3 years in a row.
Wow.
Right, yeah, but you're
That's
still
impressive.
behind him in a different program there, right? Yeah. We want you all to catch up with him.
Sensing
Glenn's trying.
a little competition here.
I think we have that.
A little competition.
In a
That's
healthy
good. That's
way.
a good thing.
A little competition is a good thing.
In a healthy way.
Anything else?
Just a follow-up question, and I don't know if this should be a question for Patrick, but we see a lot of data for test scores with ELA, with math, and with science. Where are we as a district with social studies curriculum? Because I know the math standards have not been updated anytime recently. We see this big trend toward incorporating nonfiction text with our ELA. I don't see or hear a lot, and I just was wondering if you could share of, are there books being used, curriculum? What are your schools doing to address social studies?
You want me to take it? I can only speak for the little school. We have textbooks at every grade level. Some of them in the younger grades, grades 1 and 2, are very, very old. Grade 3, they use the Massachusetts textbook, and they teach it quite regularly. And in grades 4 and 5, we switch classes at grades 4 and 5, and there is a designated social studies block every day. So in grades 4 and 5, they're getting social studies 5 days a week. Just like they're getting science and math and everything else, they're getting social studies.
Okay.
And they have, I forget what they have books as well.
Okay.
One last thing, I just want to encourage the makerspace idea. Again, I'm not anti-testing, I'm not anti-Common Core, but I think that we sometimes maybe lose focus with those things and on what we're trying to do with our kids. And I think giving kids the opportunity to tinker in class is just awesome. And if we could give them 30 minutes a week to tinker, that's better than no minutes to tinker. And when we had the teacher at Glenn's school,
Right.
it was very impressive.
In March,
Helen Kelly? Was it Helen Kelly?
Whitney.
No, it was Whitney Cleary.
Whitney Claire.
Yeah.
And she was
Good to go,
impressive.
right?
And I just love that idea. It's a huge movement now in the country, and it just, some kid may develop an interest that in 20 years that boy or girl is going to be starting a company somewhere based on what they did in that maker class in the 3rd grade or something. So I just want to encourage that.
There's just so many extensions to lessons available
Right.
that I wasn't even aware of.
Yeah.
After doing that site visit, you just learn so much and how much opportunity there is out there for learning, so exciting.
Tinkering is the mother of inventiveness.
Correct.
It's a quote from me. Now, here.
Michael, do you think that the project that Sean's talking about with Windows and Peabody Street, is that something that might be a potential capital improvement project?
It's funny, as Sean was talking, I
Yeah.
emailed Wayne and said, let's keep this in mind as we put together the large capital
Yeah.
improvement plans this summer. We'll be updating everything
Right.
this summer for a presentation this fall, so we'll certainly.
Because if it falls into that in terms of dollars, then
Yeah,
it's obviously something we should look at.
so it's possible.
And just somewhat related to that, but, and it was something Mr. McKay mentioned, last week, we met, Michael and I and Wayne met with Glenn to kind of evaluate the Hood School needs for the parking lot. And so we're expecting quotes to be gathered on that soon and that work to finish. But like Michael, I kind of took note of what Sean's looking for. It might be something we can talk a little bit more about as we lay out our priorities for next year with capital improvements for the bachelor
I
of the
think it's
school.
important that we maintain the buildings, and so that
Yeah.
we won't get in a situation that we found ourselves in 10 years ago
Right,
with the badge,
right.
just recently with the middle school and the high school, and that we
Now we're doing some
try
work
to
at
do
the little
something every
school,
year.
and it's,
Right.
yeah, I agree.
Anything else?
Just want to say thank you. It's a
Yeah.
lot of work,
Thank
it's
you.
thorough. There's DDMs, there's DDDMs, there's ISSPs, a lot of information, and it's very well presented. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take next month off.
Heard it.
No,
Starting Friday.
But wait a
Thanks,
couple of
everybody. Have a
days.
wonderful summer.
Wait a couple of days before you start that.
Oh.
Right, the next item on our agenda is the 2016-2017 school committee meeting schedule. And there is a draft of that in your packet. Any comments?
I'm going away in April again, but I don't know the dates.
Are you on the calendar?
Yes.
Yes.
There was a typo too at the bottom. It should be June 26th, not the 27th.
Good news is, though, I'll be here, but I know I'll be here for the budget
June
vote,
27th.
so.
I'm going to
Should be-
miss
it should
that
be
meeting.
26th.
I'm going to miss that meeting.
You know that already?
Yeah. I'm not going to be at the 15th, 30th, 5th, 12th, 19th, and 27th.
That's right. He's going to be gone. He's
Oh,
leaving.
that's right.
He's leaving.
He's leaving.
I wasn't
Are you
even
sure
thinking
about
of
that, Cliff?
I was,
Well,
I'm like, you
as
know
of
it's
right
right.
now, that's my
As of
plan
right now,
anyway.
yeah.
Oh,
Could
I
change
see.
without
Any
notice.
ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you could still come to the meeting.
What?
Yeah, I could. I might even.
Yeah. It just doesn't happen to be a
Are
no.
there any comments on it?
Nope, it's fine to me.
And Mr. Chairman, we're okay with a 6:30 start?
I asked if everybody
Oh.
liked the schedule.
Oh, that's what we're
I
gonna
was
start
going to
with.
skip
Yeah.
over the 6:30
that?
part of it and let
Oh,
them
I'm
find
sorry.
out
I'm
next
sorry.
year.
Oh, you're sneaking that by us?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, did you see that?
You got to watch the old people.
Well.
Good. All right, very good.
So we're in agreement that 6:30 is good? Yes.
Not as nice as 7, but it's okay.
Excellent.
Get
Thank
us
you.
out of here earlier?
Thank you.
Little.
So for the public's knowledge.
Right.
We are switching our school committee meetings to 6:30 start time
Right.
next year.
The public's knowledge. Do you think they care?
The only, so let me, the only
Maybe
question I have
some.
on that is if we're doing 6:30, does that mean we have executive sessions at 6, which,
Yes.
6.
is that going to cause an issue for anybody?
Not for me.
Okay.
I mean, I'd rather do 6 than after the meeting. I hate doing
Yeah,
executive sessions.
we used to do them after, they were always,
They
yeah,
were always just,
yeah,
Yeah, it moves them along.
yeah, tend to go on forever if you have them after.
they'll mistake us.
Thank you. We
Exactly.
appreciate that. 6:30 start, right?
Yeah, that's great.
All right, and now we have routine matters. We have minutes for May 9, open session.
I read all these.
You have a motion?
Which one did you ask for first? I'll make a motion to,
May 9, open session.
actually, on the May 9th open session, I'll make a motion to approve for discussion purposes.
I'll second for discussion purposes.
On page 4, it just noted, it said, Mr. Webster addressed the negative comments made by Selectman Jeff Ewell in the North Reading transcript with regard to the NRPS budget. It wasn't just Mr. Webster. I would say several members of
The
the committee addressed. I don't want to be singled out there, that's all.
I remember, my recollection is with Mr. Webster.
Oh, come on.
It's consistent with the minutes, my recollection.
I don't think that's correct.
I think that there were others.
Yes.
I remember saying something myself.
I think everybody that was
Hey,
here.
I want credit.
Yeah. So I used to say
Put my
several
name in there,
members.
so I want credit.
Janine wasn't here. Say several members, but Janine. No, just several members, that's all. And with that change, I'm fine. So I'd move to, actually, I already made the motion.
You made the
As
motion,
amended.
that was
Yeah.
seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't
All those
have-
opposed?
well,
Oh,
I'm
you
You're abstaining?
abstaining. I wasn't here.
Janine abstains. All right, passed. Now we have the May 23rd executive session.
Move to approve.
Second?
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Abstaining.
Abstain?
Yep.
One abstention. 4 to 1 abstention. May 23rd, open session.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm just sad that I missed the presentation.
Oh, yeah, came in after.
Yeah,
It's good.
I got there just in time for the actual meeting.
Gotta get your
after.
priorities straight. Oh.
It was a good one.
It was.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passed. June 6, executive session.
Move to approve June 6th executive session.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jerry, you notice on these minutes, there's a lot of Janine arrived at 6:20, Janine arrived at 7:30. I mean, I just,
Well, at least she showed up.
well, that's true.
Wasn't here at all.
Oh,
But then there were some people who stayed through the whole graduation.
Passed.
Sorry, Jerry, I didn't mean that, Jerry. I didn't-
I'm out.
All right.
Moving right along.
No.
June 6th, open session. A motion.
Move to approve.
Second, and I would just like to note that this one says I arrived 10 minutes early.
Yeah, that's very good. That makes up for some of the time that
There
you.
you go.
Right.
See, Janine's fine right up until April, but she never turns her clock back.
Exactly. That's
Is there any further
Yeah,
discussion?
what is that?
From April till October. You were there 10 minutes.
Yeah.
At 6:20, she got there early.
Well, it was noteworthy. I'm sorry, Jim.
When are you up for reelection?
You know what it was? There was an executive session, and I think
Yeah.
maybe that's what you were
Yeah,
thinking.
Yeah,
it just
that's- yeah.
transferred over.
And then this meeting started at 6:30.
Right.
Which
So you could just,
I'm just.
no,
I'm
you don't need to put that
confused.
arrive at 6:20.
You don't need to rub it in.
Yeah, it was on the executive, so it just
Exactly.
transferred over.
Any further discussion?
I don't know who seconded that.
I did, I
Oh.
believe.
All those in favor?
Aye. I just want to apologize to Mr. Venezia. He's been to 17 graduations. I've just given
16
him.
and 3/4.
Right, I was just giving him a little bit of a hard time. That's all.
Was it a whole 3/4?
Yes, yes.
Jerry, I expected you to say, but that was just for your high school. That's usually something you.
Yeah,
get,
exactly.
right? That's 6 years.
Oh, we're having too much fun. We're having too much fun. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Passed. Unanimous, actually. No budget update, none at this time. Staffing, none at this time. Bids and donation, a lot.
Wow, this is great.
Donation by Mr. Kevin Nigro, $100 to the Visual Arts Department. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to say that's pretty cool.
Yep.
There's a story.
Kevin was brought on by PMA about, what, a year ago, Jerry? Maybe less than a year ago.
Project manager, probably a little less than a year. right?
And he has been, I'm going to say he's been pretty awesome on this project, and he's been really helpful to us.
Kevin
this
was
is great.
very impressed with the projects that were on display in Main
You
Street.
got a couple of them, if I remember
Really?
correctly, like
He was
3 or
very impressed with them, yeah, he office was near the teacher, the high school art teacher, Andy Dexter, and he just, was very impressed with the work the kids were doing.
Yeah, Kevin's the lead project manager for us now, and he's done a great job of trying to pull things together and essentially help us try to close the project out. So he's done a great job.
So I'll make a motion to approve with gratitude and thank Kevin for his generosity.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next donation is from Ms. Mary Ann Murray, $500 to provide financial assistance to the Bachelor School's Grade 5 trip to Canterbury Lake Park.
Make a motion to accept with gratitude the $500 donation from Mary Ann Murray for the Batchelder School 5th grade Canopy Lake Park field trip.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Next is for the from the Bachelor School Parents Associate Organization, $581 to support associated costs for student trips to the at the Bachelor School, $360 to grade 3 field trip to Salem geocaching, $221 to grade 2 field trip to Butterfly Place.
Make a motion to accept with gratitude the $581 donation from the Batchelder Parents Association to be used for the cost to transport the third grade to Salem, geoteching, and also the second grade to the Butterfly Place in Westford, Mass.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Hood School Parent Association, $600 to support associate cost for student field trips at the Hood School, $300 for a grade 4 field trip, and $300 for a grade 1 field trip.
I'll make a motion that we accept with gratitude the $600 donation from the Hood School PA, $300 of which will be used for a 4th grade field trip, and $300 for a 1st grade field trip.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. The next donation is from Reading Cooperative Bank Charitable Foundation, $1,000 to provide a scholarship to a member of the class of 2016.
Move to approve, accept with gratitude a $1,000 donation from the Reading Cooperative Charitable Foundation for a scholarship to the graduating senior of North Reading High School.
Just forward that to Ann.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Next is from North Reading Touchdown Club, $2,927 to be used to purchase additional football concussion helmets.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept with gratitude a donation in $2,927 from the North Reading Touchdown Club towards the purchase of very much needed football concussion helmets.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I believe Mr. Johnson said that this is getting us close now to having a full complement of helmets for the entire team.
I
concussion.
asked him about that. You're exactly right. We also have a very large number right now of students interested in football next year.
Right.
Good.
Could be our,
Biggest.
it might be the largest since I've been here.
Yeah.
So, I think it's in like the 70s.
Well, the most I've ever seen was about 64, 65, and that
Yeah.
goes
Okay.
back 10 years.
That's up from, what, 19 one year?
Oh, man, do you remember?
Yeah, I mean.
Remember we
so-
almost couldn't play games
Yeah.
because we had
I mean,
kids
that's
injured?
a little bit preliminary, but.
Yeah,
it's-
anybody sick or
That's
injured
the
or
word
so.
right now. So.
So I have a follow-up question to that. Do we not have?
All
Fully-
helmets are concussion
Okay.
style helmets.
Yeah.
All of them are.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But all the starters have.
Yeah. No, they,
No, I'm
Well,
kidding.
I think if they get
Everybody's got
hit a couple of times, a pretty, a significant impact.
They need to be
So this is kind of like
Exactly.
replenishing our
Yeah.
inventory, do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Recycling them
Yeah.
through with newer.
Plus, we have that whole protocol policy.
Yeah,
now
yeah,
for
yeah.
concussions, so.
Right.
Which
we
I think
do.
has been
For
followed
all
pretty-
sports.
yeah.
Followed pretty closely.
All
so-
sports and some
All.
extracurriculars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next donation is North Reading Middle School Parents Association, $5,750 to support expenses associated with the following year-end activities. $2,500 for the grade 8 trip to Washington, and $1,500 for Legacy Day, and $1,750 for grade 6 trip to Canterbury Lake Park.
Move to accept with gratitude a donation of $5,750 donation from the Middle School Parents Association to support expenses associated with the 8th grade Washington trip, Legacy Day, and the 6th grade Canopy Lake field trip.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I also wanted to add, Mr. Chair, I'm assuming we'll get these at the next meeting. We had a couple of donations come in for the field project, the irrigation and sod project, and I'm expecting the others to be in within the next week or two. The
Right.
other question I did want to ask, and this is something maybe we can put on the next agenda, I was thinking that we maybe should have some sort of little sign down there recognizing the donors to that project.
The project?
And especially the large donor maybe should get their name in a little more lights than the other donors, but that's just something I wanted to raise as a possibility tonight, and if you want to put it on the agenda.
Want to put it
or-
on maybe for the July
Yeah,
meeting, so
that'd
that
be
we
good.
have a.
Yeah,
we're in a little
because
bit
we have
more-
time
Right.
since, yeah.
You're
Okay.
saying actual signs, Mel, to get on there?
Pardon me?
Actual
A
signs?
sign, just a sign, a small sign that
I'm
thanks
wondering how it
the,
would look to put them on the big fence behind the fields there.
do that.
You know, as you come up
Just
the access
thanking
road
the,
there
you
on
know,
that
all the youth
fence.
sports organizations that,
Yeah.
and
That's a
others
good
who
idea.
donated
It's a
to
real
to
good
make the
idea.
project possible.
That would be nice.
Like facing out?
Yeah, like, when you
As
come
you're
up the
coming
fence,
up.
it's behind the the end of the
Right.
field as you're coming up the access road.
Yep.
I think everybody could see that.
Because it's a real community
Do it in
effort.
a way it's in good taste, you know?
And I think it's, we, as a school department, we really appreciate the youth groups and the Hall of Fame committee and some private citizens kicking in money to make this happen.
I had an opportunity to talk briefly to the softball coaches tonight, and they were very, very excited about the field.
Yeah.
And hoping that it would be ready for next spring.
Yeah.
which It
Should
should
be.
be. Yeah.
And then the next meeting I am planning on doing it.
Oh, that's
the,
what I was just gonna say.
the January through June in-kind donations that came.
Oh, great.
That would be
For
great.
the parent associations. And, so we did the September through December earlier in the year. Now we'll do the January through June.
It's significant.
It's significant. I also,
Tonight was
I'll-
over 13,000, just tonight.
That's amazing.
I also plan to give an update of all the gifts, both monetary and in-kind, that we've accepted from July through June 27th, through the June 27th.
Great.
One other thing that I'd like to, Mr. Bernard, to put on the agenda for the next athletic subcommittee meeting is, we have these 2 new fields now, and we need, there's a lot of equipment that we need. Bleachers, goals, soccer goals, football goal posts,
Dugout type
et cetera.
tops and stuff.
We have 2 new facilities that, if, you know, if there was enough money coming from somewhere, maybe we could consider naming, you know, naming rights, et cetera. I'm not saying that we're selling the fields, but, you know, we need a scoreboard. I mean, we need a lot of things that we don't have in our budget right now.
I think that's why we need to keep the athletic facilities committee
Right.
intact and move forward with a priority list after we get the irrigation done, after we get the
Exactly.
sod done.
Yeah.
That we're gonna have a whole priority list, because bleachers are gonna be necessary at the softball
Right.
field. Some type of an enclosure, I don't think it has to be a wooden dugout.
No.
But something like that. We have to look at a scoreboard over there. We're gonna have to look at, I think Dave Johnson said we really need soccer.
We do.
Soccer goals and goal,
Badly.
Just
Soccer
equipment.
goals. Yeah.
and football goalposts, he said. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're gonna practice
So
football, you
so
probably
these are the
have-
things we've
That
gotta.
group might be a good group to do some sort of a fundraising effort.
Yeah.
Kind of support the needed, because there are a lot of ancillary needs.
Yeah, but I mean, there are opportunities if, you know, some fine North Reading resident wants to come over and say, hand us a check for $100,000, maybe we could talk.
We'll accept it.
Yeah.
We'll accept it. With gratitude.
Yes. But I just want, I think for athletic facilities and also for athletic
That's
subcommittee.
July 19th,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot to get
But I
done.
Mel mentioned the scoreboard that is over at the Hood School.
Yeah.
It's
as
not
a right.
electronic.
As a temporary, I think we could do something
Um,
like that.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's really neat. I mean, very old school.
Right.
But
I love
it's
that idea.
beautiful.
Yeah.
But you've got to make sure you can get somebody to go out there
Well,
and
right.
operate
Right.
it. You know,
Right.
sometimes, I've seen before where you have it out there and nobody's there
The
willing.
thing
to-
right now is the one at the little school they don't use because it really doesn't work. So, and I know that costs a lot of money. And initially, there was some talk of moving that over here, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Well, the other
now.
thing we have to do with the athletic facilities committee is we have to sit down and figure out how we're going to get the electricity out to the field area too.
Right.
Because they're going to need that not only for a scoreboard potentially, but also for batting cages and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Sounds like a
about
plan.
pitching machines.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, subcommittee updates are next on our agenda. We have NORCAM.
All right, NORCAM, I didn't go the last couple of months, the last 3 months, but what I'd propose to the committee and to the administration is that we think about maybe putting this on the agenda for the next meeting and trying to put together a comprehensive proposal to NORCAM to complete the work in the Performing Arts Center and the gymnasium. I think we put together as a project, bring it to NORCAM and see what type of funding they would be willing to look at to do the entire project. I know there's been some resistance of trying to do the gymnasium without having a plan for the.
Not the gym, you mean the Performing Arts Center, right?
What did I say?
No,
You
you
said
said
gymnasium.
before.
I'm
The
sorry,
gym-
the Performing Arts
The
Center.
gym is wired.
Oh, no, both of them, though.
Right.
We gotta get the cameras. So it's a combined, it would be a combined proposal to do the whole thing. They've been reluctant to just go into the gym and to do the
Right, that-
cameras. They think that should be a complete project. So I'm not sure what the cost would be. I think we're talking probably 6 figures and trying to do something like that.
Yep.
But I think if we made a proposal and then we let the board, the NORCAM board, vote on it or see what they can do to move that forward.
Would you like to start with maybe a small group meeting? with,
Yeah, I
say,
think we might wanna do that.
Yourself, myself,
Yeah.
I'll try to get NORCAM involved.
And then we can bring a
something
proposal to the school
To this
committee.
group, okay.
Yeah.
I can
'Cause I
talk
think-
with you
Yeah.
about dates.
Yeah.
Okay.
The gym is wired, they just need to put one camera in there. The Performing Arts Center is not wired.
No.
That's,
And the Performing Arts Center, I mean, obviously, you know, it obviously benefits the schools and other groups who may use it, but
Right.
also for NORCAM, they do the town meetings.
Right.
And it would be much easier if we had that place, you know.
well, if it was wired and, you know, we could use it for, I mean, we can't record and show the shows that are there because of royalty issues and rights issues, but copyright issues. But it gives us an opportunity to use those cameras for other things that are in there also, that,
Yeah.
you know, if NORCAM isn't using them, we can.
And again, I noticed the other day, I was watching one of the channels, and they had on, what game was it? Was it a softball game?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was. So somebody obviously
Yeah.
had gone out there and recorded it. What game, do you remember what game that was that they recorded? Okay, and they were showing it on, you know,
Yeah.
one of the public access channels. So I think, again, I think it would be good programming, particularly for the
I'm just
the
thinking-
volleyball team
yeah,
and the
there's a
basketball
lot. I
teams
mean,
and the other activities that take place.
Middle
in the-
school held its
in the gym.
Legacy Day today in the
Yeah.
Performing Arts Center. It was
Yeah.
it's a nice show for the community.
Yep, so,
All right, I'll follow up with you, Jerry, about.
yeah, I think we need to make a formal proposal.
And Finance Planning Team met on June 3rd. And what can we say about that?
I think
We were getting ready for town meeting.
Yeah, I think we were getting ready for town meeting at that point, but we also, I think, talked again about just future planning and what,
Mhm.
you know, just kind of anticipating
Right. And just-
needs for next year, preliminary needs, and perhaps taking a little bit more of an aggressive schedule
Yeah, I
for the
think
development
so.
of the budget earlier on, and.
Yep. I think it was clear that there's gonna be
Try to
revenue
think about
challenges
3 years
next
out
year as
rather
well.
than 1 year out.
Yeah.
That was made
Yeah.
clear before this one.
Well, I think reading in the paper last week that they're now looking at a $450 to $750 million shortfall on
This year.
fiscal 17
Yep.
revenues. We have to be careful that the budget this year stays intact and we get the Chapter 70 and the circuit breaker money that we're expecting.
Right.
I think the governor and the leaders of the House and the Senate have said they don't plan on touching those funds, but.
But if they touch funding, you know, the other funding for the.
Right.
For the town, I mean.
Exactly.
You know, we're
That
all gonna be
impacts us,
impacted
right,
by that.
Right.
The, on that topic, there was a suburban coalition meeting this past week that went into a continuation of the program that we were involved with earlier in the year. And there's a follow-up work being developed for that.
Okay.
To put the campaign together for next fall, so that what we end up with is a program that not only will have the legislation to fund, but also the money behind it at the same time. You remember, I made that point at the last meeting that they had in front of the I think that, you know, it doesn't make much sense to move ahead with legislation next year and then follow up with the money the following year when we really needed it 2 years
Right.
back.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes, but there is an effort being developed to put together a fall program. Athletic Subcommittee?
We, Mr. Johnson confirmed that we're moving ahead with putting together well, the school committee has not approved this yet, it has to come to us, but a co-op ski team, we're talking to Haverhill High School. The tennis lights, I think at this time was decided it was too costly to have a timer installed.
It was too costly with the system we had looked
Right.
at, and I think
And we
we're
may look
looking at
at
alternative.
Alternatives, and if
systems.
that doesn't work, one of the things we actually talked about with Marty Tilton of Parks and Rec was in the spring and in the fall, when you don't have the late sunlight, 2 or 3 nights a week, you turn the lights on for a couple hours, and they just go off, and that's it. So if people want to use them on those nights. So we're still working on that. It's not an issue in the summer because we have the sunlight till 9 o'clock, basically, and you don't, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and you don't really want people out there past 9 o'clock anyway. The budget revolving account is in good shape. We'll be left with a balance at the end of the year.
It was about 16,000, Mike?
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
16.8.
Well, no, it might be a little bit more than that now.
16.8 or-
And we spent time
Yeah, it wasn't
talking
as
about
high
the
as I thought.
field project.
Mel gave us a good rundown on the schedule as far as the bids coming in.
Right.
started the work and finished work, and like you said before, the bids are coming in Thursday, right?
It'll be open
Correct.
Thursday, are they open at Town Hall or here?
They're opening here in,
At your office?
at our office in the
Okay.
conference room at
10 o'clock.
10 a.m.
How many bids, Mike, did you?
Well, there were 13, right now, there's 13 vendors that pulled
Wow.
the bid online. I think there was another handful of bidders that attended the walkthrough.
Right.
It wasn't a mandatory walkthrough, so we'll see, but it's gotten some interest.
So getting 13, we should get a decent number of bids, you would think, right?
I would think, yeah. I mean, the 5 that attended the walkthrough, at least there's 5, serious about it enough to come out and
Yeah.
attend the walkthrough.
It's a good-sized project, I mean,
Sure.
so.
And the hope is to have the bidder select, the contractor selected by or on the 30th, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, of June. I think, was there anything else, Sherry?
Yeah, we talked about the ice for the hockey team.
Oh, right.
At Essex
Right.
Aggie.
They're
Tech, yeah.
Possibly looking at
We're
moving.
close to securing
They're still
that.
talking to Merrimack, also talking to Essex Tech about
Yeah.
Right.
possibly moving the team over there.
I think if we could get ice at one location,
Right.
it would be great.
Yeah.
Particularly for practices. What else?
Can
was
I
on
just
this?
ask a quick question related to that? I talked to a parent of a JV hockey player.
Yes.
And she expressed her concern with the incredible kind of financial responsibilities that they have as a family to pay the user fee and then do so much of the fundraising to, for refs and for transportation. So
Yeah, that's-
could
We
you just
discussed that.
give
Yeah.
a little bit more about how that,
Well, I think.
because I
what
know
we-
there was talk of
I think what we decided was that we're gonna try to phase it in over 2 years.
Right.
so that-
3 years.
3 years, so
Yeah.
that we're gonna try to reduce the responsibility each year over the next 3 years
Right.
until the program is, the team is completely incorporated into our.
Correct.
Right.
Our
Okay.
operations
Yeah.
budget.
Okay.
But again, as I've said before about hockey,
coming
it's
year is
This coming year is year
Enterprise
one. We
for the
factored
school
that in,
department,
too.
too.
Okay.
So did we factored in some money this
We
year
did,
from our
yeah.
budget to it.
Okay.
So it's gonna take, I think, the
2 years.
3-year.
I think they were
phasing.
I think they were spending, what, $6,500 to $7,000?
Yeah, I think what their issue was they're gonna continue to raise money, but they'd like to use it for things other than
Right.
operating
Right,
expenses.
right.
Right.
So,
And we knew that, so that's why we didn't want to do it all in one year, but we
Sure.
think it's a reasonable
Sure.
request, and I know Michael's.
I just
That
wanted
was
a
their
little more
proposal.
information because
Yeah.
I couldn't give her
Yeah, it was.
specifics
Yeah.
of what the plan was.
So that's the plan.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's a serious hurt.
What's
kind
that?
of money for families.
It's a sig- yeah.
no.
No.
The money that they put towards those expenses were not in addition to the user fee. That was money they.
They're raising all the money.
Fundraising.
On top
They're
of
They-
it.
they
raising
would-
the money.
They would fundraise,
Yeah.
and they would pay for referees, they would
Right.
pay for transportation. they would
Ice.
pay for
Ice.
Ice
Yeah, they
time.
would give, I think,
Um,
6,000 to ICE,
yeah.
15 to
And
rest.
it's been
Essentially,
like
they
that.
were paying for the entire, basically paying for almost the entire
Other than the
program.
coach.
In
budget.
addition to
Other
their
than
user
code.
fee,
Right.
right?
Correct.
Right, so that was their concern.
Yeah.
But again, I think most of the money that they were using to do that was through fundraising.
Yeah.
That goes
Correct.
all the way back to 1996,
Yeah.
that's when we
Yeah,
started
it's been
doing
there
it.
for a while.
you know, And it's been that way ever since, and
Yeah.
a lot of it was to help defray the cost of.
Yeah.
And I think her concern was that, multi-sports, then it really, they're feeling the impact, if they play a fall sport and a spring sport, and so, thank you for
Yep.
the information.
Yeah, that's it, right?
That's all
Anything
for athletic?
Yep.
subcommittee?
I think that's it.
Okay, Secondary School Building Committee met on the 14th.
Mel?
I already spoke on that. I do look forward to the light getting fixed on the flagpole, though. It worked for 2 or 3 days. I saw it working, actually,
I never got to see it work.
I saw it
didn't
on.
work that deeply.
one night, and then it wasn't on anymore.
Unlike when you buy something at the grocery store, when it doesn't work, you go back and you say, fix it.
Yes.
No, and again, just briefly, we had a good meeting last week. We are closing in on
Yep.
getting this project closed
Yep.
out as far as the final numbers are concerned. I think at the end of this week, beginning of next week, one of the big ticket items, and that's the landscaping, should be in a position where we can at least evaluate it.
Yeah.
I think the other big items are, and we've talked about it, is the audiovisual that John talked
Mm-hmm.
about, the training. That's one of the bigger items that's outstanding. The
HVAC.
HVACs,
Oh.
there were some issues, and the other are some roof issues that aren't roof problems,
No.
but some cleaning up things that have to be done up there.
Yeah.
So those are the three main issues right now, the landscaping.
I did have one other thing to add about the tennis courts.
Oh,
Yes,
right.
Tennis courts.
So on Friday,
Yes.
on Friday, I rejected, on behalf of the building committee, I rejected their proposed resolution to that.
Yep.
and offered my opinion that I thought the entire surface needed to be redone
Good.
as one surface. So I have not heard a response. That was on Friday.
They should be delighted.
Yeah, in case the public isn't aware, there's a couple of issues. One is
They are, I
one of the
think they're-
courts, we have this peeling, there's pitting in the surface, and then the other issue is when they made a repair back before we started using the courts, they didn't match the paint, and you have different colors.
It
Yeah,
rained and it got wet.
exactly.
And it faded the color and, yeah.
So I think our goal is to make it look like it's one
It's supposed
And
to.
the
surface.
courts-
Right.
courts are all
Exactly,
functional.
right, like it's supposed to look a brand-new court.
Courts are all functional.
Right.
Everybody's using them. They were busy tonight when we came
Yep.
to the meeting, but we're not gonna accept them if we're gonna have problems with them a year from now or 2 years from now.
When you buy a new tire, you don't expect the sidewall to be all scuffed up. and,
Correct.
To be patches
That's
on.
right.
On the wall.
Exactly.
And, it just doesn't
plug.
fit. You buy something, you expect it's gonna be complete. and-
Well, that's kind of the opinion I
new.
had, was I thought from the beginning, it was never as we expected it should be, as a brand-new surface.
Right.
So I'm sure they could do a very good job of matching it and addressing that, what I think they call the exfoliation in
Yeah.
the center area. But I just felt like it should have been what it should have been at the outset, before, it shouldn't need this amount of,
We've never
Up there
had
at
it
this point.
looking like a brand-new court, where it's all one, the colors are matching, we've never had
because
it
that
like
center
that.
patch was
Right.
almost, it was before we even started to
Exactly.
use them.
Exactly.
And again, just for the public, we've held back money.
Yep.
on
Correct.
All of these things. We have specific sums in addition to retainage, so the money's been held.
The other thing that was covered in that meeting was, we advised Gilbane that they need to jack up the landscape
Yes.
contractor and put him on notice that he was approaching a default condition.
Yes,
Which should get them moving a bit.
hopefully,
Well, it
yeah.
got them moving a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they were out there today.
Yeah. We had several people here today. They
So
had-
my
They're
email
out there Friday.
today was, Kevin, our project manager, responded back to the group that, there had been an action taken by the building committee last Tuesday to invoke that, the CDI, I think.
Yeah.
it's called.
CDI insurance, yeah.
Construction default insurance, is that what
Yeah.
it was? So he had kind of written that as a reply all, which meant that it went to Gilbane, but there hasn't been, or I don't know, it was late this afternoon, maybe 3:30 or so, but, yeah, I was expecting more people on site here at the end of last week, I really was, given that action on Tuesday, so.
That's a second tier or third tier sub that is involved. in
Correct.
that.
Right.
It's not Gilbane
Yeah, I think
or
it's, yeah, like
Manafort,
there
it's
is
somebody.
Third tier,
else.
yeah.
It was the
It's
Manafort.
a
then-
sub of Manafort.
Yeah, right.
Sub of Manafort.
So it takes a little while for it to trickle down.
Mm.
Nothing happens instantly.
When they're here, they do decent work, but it's just
When
there
they're
aren't
here.
enough people, and they're not here regularly enough, so.
I saw, the other day, I saw two people working on
Yeah.
the lower area. Well, two people is interesting if you're doing something small.
Exactly.
If you're doing my yard, two
Right,
people's
right.
interesting.
People
To know
do-
when you're doing
In
a school
fact, if you got
project.
one of the local,
Even-
local
Yeah.
There's 4 guys.
They'd be 4, 5, 6 guys
Right.
in your yard.
Yeah.
At a time, instead of 2 in the whole area. All right, the next item on our agenda here is the subcommittee's schedule. NORCAM Board of Directors on June 23rd at 7. An SSBC meeting on July 12 at 5:30. Athletic Subcommittee, July 19 at 12:30 in the afternoon. Finance Planning Team on August 9 at 8:15 in the morning. Administrative report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just a couple of things to know for you tonight. I do want to continue to keep you updated on the Little School roof replacement project. We are expecting construction to begin this Thursday. The companies involved have been very, I would say, accommodating at this point, recognizing what's going on at the Little School with end-of-year activities and such, but that does not mean that they've been sitting idly by. There have been a number of project meetings. We are receiving a near-daily report from Compass Project Management on their evaluation of the steps to be taken to get the construction off and running. So I have no reason to think right now that that schedule is not what it is hoped to be, and that we are looking at a kind of an earnest effort in the summer to bring the project to a conclusion by mid-September or thereabouts, so. The other thing I wanted to just update you on, I was very pleased, so the Global Child, the foreign language program that I had spoken to you about at the end of May, when we were at the little school, the registrations are open through July 15th, but as of about maybe 4 o'clock today, there were 33 students registered already, so.
That's good.
Yeah, it was, that's encouraging, and I think Mrs. Kopke had raised at that meeting about whether mornings were good enough, or, were acceptable, I guess, and could we do a survey, and so we did, Dr. Daly and I did that survey. I think it was good that we did that, so thank you for the suggestion. A number of people, we got close to 300 responses, I think, 260 some odd responses. And it was about 55 or 56% of people preferred afternoons. There was about, say, 30 or 28% mornings, and then the other remaining percentage really didn't have an opinion. So we built the schedule with some morning offerings, some afternoon offerings, and I also met with the elementary school principals to just find out about when their instrumental programs were going to be running, when theater programs would be running, and we tried to minimize those kinds of conflicts as much as possible. So while I don't think every potential conflict can be accommodated, I do think we at least did our due diligence, I think, to try to provide as wide a range of offerings as we could. And we also did make the decision to introduce it at the middle school, and there are students signed up for middle school exploratory program in grade 6. So I think this is a good thing. I'll keep you updated when registrations close, but I think for the couple of weeks that the registrations have been open, I think 33 is a good number right now. And it was actually, it was 14 this morning, by the way.
Okay, is there a minimal number where they won't do it if we have too few?
They indicated that they like 8. That they like 8 in a
Minimum of 8.
class, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, now, she did, the woman that I'm dealing with from Global Child, Diana Hibner, did indicate that they could go to 6 if other programs helped them to offset, but they think 8 is kind of like the
But it seems
number
like
they
if
strive for.
33 now, we should have a lot more by July 15th, I would think, or hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Maybe up to 40.
It got a huge amount of interest through the survey. I mean, it was 90-some-odd% of people said that they would take advantage of this program if it was offered.
People want to sign up, how do they?
It's all done through Global Child. It's largely done online. So I sent out
Do they, if they don't have the information, because I'm thinking if we can go on Parent Connection
Right.
just to make sure people know they.
So I've done a Blackboard Connect, kind of the blast email. I actually did it again today, and that number went from 14 to
Okay.
33 just today.
Is there a link
The
on our
link,
website?
you should have the link, Julie, as a middle school parent,
Okay,
because I sent it out again today.
okay.
If not, just let me know, and I can send you the documents as,
Facebook page there.
but yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
So that's all, Mr. Chairman, I have tonight.
All right, no correspondence, future business. We have a regular meeting on July 27th
June 20th.
June.
at 7, goals workshop at 5 PM on July 25th, and a regular meeting at 6:30. And on August 29th, we have a goals workshop at 5 and a regular meeting at 6:30. And I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So made, motion to adjourn.
Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.